Hello everyone and welcome on this channel. Today we will see why Microsoft needed to buy a big mobile game studio, which is the case with the purchase of Activision, Blizzard and King, and we will also see the impact for us in the future. Metacritic ranked Microsoft as best game studio for 2021, ahead of Sony, Capcom, etc. But when you look for Microsoft games on mobile, you only find Office applications and games such as Solitaire, Mahjong and Crosswords. Microsoft owns 38 game studios, and before the Activision Blizzard purchase it was only 23. Why does a company that excels on computer and PC does not publish mobile games? That's not entirely true, because you can play some Xbox games on mobile via the xCloud offer. But cloud gaming is something I will cover in another video. Remember to subscribe if you're interested in this topic. In reality, there has been Microsoft games in the store. I'm talking about Minecraft Earth, Gears Pop and Forza Street. Probably 3 games you've never heard of. Minecraft Earth mixed augmented reality and Minecraft. Released in November 2019, right at the start of the pandemic, it was a total flop. Well, with such circumstances, they were really unlucky. Gears Pop was between a tower defense and a deck builder, all in the Gears of War universe with Funko Pop figurine. And Forza Street allowed players to collect legendary cars by participating in street races. Gears Pop and Forza had one thing in common. A player who did not go through the shop was confronted with the paywall. It's a virtual wall that will stop the player progress. And to override it, there are 2 solutions. Either you have to be extremely patient with long and tedious quests that will take several months, or you go in the shop. So these games were designed to catch cash player or whales, which are the minority of players who will spend lavishly. To attract these players, it's not enough to publish a game in which only those who pay evolve. They must attract all players, and therefore the playful experience must be interesting with or without in-app purchases. We have glaring examples with games that are a hit. Numbers on screen come from last month. Genshin Impact is a free game with at least 130 hours of play to do all the quests and explore the entire open world. Not to mention all the temporary events that follow one another to unlock everything that will allow players to optimize their team. In this context, players can spend money, not to have access to more areas, more dungeons, more quests. All of this is possible for free. But players can pay to travel the world with different characters, without going into too much details, to do more damage. That's $80 million only to play more kawaii characters and to do big damage. In PUBG Mobile, we also have a free game in which players compete in a 100-player battle royale, and paying unlock skins for the characters and their weapons. So again, $45 million not to get more content, not to be better than others, only to be different. For these studios, the objective is to create a fun game and catch as many players as possible in their net, and to scrap a little money from all of them rather than just looking for the whales. Leave the whales alone. And that's exactly why Microsoft needed to buy out studios that were developing working mobile games. They needed game designers who did not take players for cash cows. We are going through the second part of the video. How will the recent purchase of Activision Blizzard be positive for Microsoft and above all for us players? By installing the hand on King, Microsoft buys games which alone have generated $1.2 billion per year. It's good for Microsoft, it makes their purchase profitable. Except that Microsoft's current audience is not at all player interested by match 3 game. Moreover, Microsoft bought Activision and Blizzard for $69 billion. It may seem huge, but the video game market last year was $190 billion. And by way of comparison, the music market worldwide generates only $25 billion. And to give you another point of comparison, the cinema market, except in the pandemic time, because of course if cinemas are closed, it works less well, it is around $40 billion in revenue. By getting Blizzard, Microsoft buys Hearthstone, which generates around 25 million in revenue from these mobile players. That's cool too. It could be declined with Microsoft licenses, but it's hard to imagine a Halo or Forza card game. And the real opportunity in this purchase for Microsoft is the acquisition of a studio capable of producing video games similar to what can be found on PC or console. And the perfect example is the game Diablo Immortal. This game takes everything we know from Diablo 3 and adds PvP content to add what was missing on Diablo 3. The game also takes up these flaws with the old school system without the Path of the Exile talent tree. But that's not the point. What's interesting is that Microsoft needed a studio that could produce a game that wouldn't be limited by a paywall. That's totally the case with this game. And what's positive is that Microsoft could decline all their licenses on mobile. We could imagine a new MMO World of Warcraft cross-platform exactly like Genshin Impact, but with the whole universe of Warcraft and especially ranked PvP. Or find the MOBA Heroes of the Storm, whose gameplay and duration are relatively similar to Pokémon Unite. And if we push the reflection, we could even see a declination of Clash Royale or Worldstar with the universe of Blizzard or Activision. I let you imagine all the possibilities. Conclusion, I'm very hyped. All the money that was badly invested by Microsoft the last years with games that were removed from the store after 1 year will be correctly and wisely invested. And I invite you to watch my previous video in which I explain the evolution of the mobile game market, and I compare also some game already existing on PC and console adapted to mobile, well-known licenses of course. That's all for this video. I wish you all a good luck, play hard and see you soon.